We'll wait for a little second to see if anybody logs in, but we're just going to get ready to rock and roll in a second. I apologize for that. Like I said, I was logged in and then I panicked because you wasn't in, and I hit exit and it ended the entire chat. So I think it messed up that link.
Okay.
Um,
Well, at least now we know because I
yeah,
wasn't sure.
yeah. So, like I said, 2 minutes, and then we'll go right into it and start chit chatting about these Transformation Tuesdays that we're going to be trying to bring to people. All right. How's your day going? You can still hear me, right? You there? Got
I'm
it.
here.
All right. All right. Let's get this ball rolling. All right, everybody. So, what's going on? Welcome to the first official episode of Transformation Tuesdays. I'm Coach Troy. I am the owner of We're Evolving Fitness Team and Deep End Fitness. And today we're going to kick this 12-week series off. This series is going to be able to help you completely reconstruct the way that you train, eat, and the way that you think.
All right, and
This
I'm Coach Nitra. I am the owner of Butterfly Transformation Nutrition Coaching, also the person who handles nutrition at the gym. So excited for this series. So we can't wait to see how it goes.
Facts. And today we're going to be talking about the real reason why most people do not change. And I promise you, it's not about your metabolism, it's not about your age, nor your genetics. Today I got to start with this little story, and me and Nietzsche can probably just ping these things back and forth off of each other, as far as just these common stories of our older females and males that are 40 plus coming in saying that they work out 5 times a week and nothing's changing, and then you ask them that one question: are you training or are you just exercising? Right?
Yeah.
And it's a big two totally different things, right? I bet you probably deal with it on your side as well, right?
Same. Most ladies and gentlemen as well, just especially over 40 plus, are really struggling with I think I eat well, or the term will always be I eat clean. But when we really dig into it, it's just really unstructured and it's just some simple approaches that they are missing. And so sometimes they forget it's not just the what, but the how much.
Yeah, so like when you're in it, are you seeing that people are just grabbing meals that they see on social media, workouts that they see on social media, and it's not as structured as how we try to do as far as your nutrition, the way that I program? I think that that's what a lot of people just really miss out on, is that detailed structure and consistency, right?
I think from so many in that 40 plus range, they are seeing foods listed, or you know what, this is what I eat in a day, and they may see it from an influencer, but what you don't understand is that influencer may be 25. They also may be somebody who takes additional supplements. They may be taking fat burners. They're doing other things. They may even be taking PEDs at the same time. And so they don't understand that that person's body is functioning at a very different capacity, but also their training schedule can be a lot more intense than someone
Hmm.
else's. So when they see these meals and they're like, oh my God, that looks so good. And oh, that works for that person, but they don't understand that's why nutrition is and workouts are very much about the person in front of us and not what somebody else is doing, because it's probably not what works for you.
For sure. I think that I'd err on your side as far as nutrition, saying that that's the bigger effect. I feel like in a 6 week training cycle or in a 6 week cycle of life, if I change the way my nutrition is, my body composition is going to change. You do 6 weeks of just exercise, you have some body changes, but not as massive as I feel like once we change that nutrition. So I always say the trilogy is training, nutrition, and accountability. So if you're not
100%.
having individuals like you and I in their space and they only get one side of it, right? You deal with a lot of nutrition, but they may not, and you get to see and you're like, hey, you're not doing any training. I offer different things. So you may need to factor in the training. And same with me when I was just like, hey, I need you here because people, as much as the programming is good, I'm not being able to see the results from my clients and athletes because they're not dialed in with the nutrition. We'll
Hmm.
have the account, and normally people have two. right? Be like, oh, well, I have a training buddy or I go to the gym, but it's like, how's your nutrition? And what's the normal saying when someone says, how's their nutrition?
What always makes it funny not funny is because sometimes people think they can either do one without the other, or you find people who really excel in one or the other, and that's why either their body never looks like they want it to, or either they never feel like they want to. So oftentimes when we see somebody just working out, they're like, you know what, I'm going to start with just working out first.
Yeah,
And they may feel like, okay, I feel a little bit better. Maybe my body can feel slightly tighter, but nothing actually looks different. And it's not until we do both that they start to see their body is changing. They feel better. They have more energy. Everything starts to line up. They're sleeping better. All the things start to work. Hunger cues work. But it's because we have all of the things. And when they miss
yeah.
the pieces,
Yeah, it's that three-piece puzzle where it's just the eating, the nutrition, and the accountability. So, um, I just say for you, what's some daily advice that you got for people as
one
far as
thing
how to hit that?
one thing for sure is we have to look at making sure that people don't overcomplicate the food because they want to be perfect. And I find that the ladies and men, that's what they really struggle with is they want it to be so perfect that when it's not perfect, they give up or they just say, forget it. That's too
Mhm.
hard, right? We just have to keep it simple with protein at every meal, carbohydrates that match you. And that's usually where they need a little bit of help because you don't actually know what carbohydrates work for you, or keep an accurate food log for a couple of weeks. And then we just go under that, right? That's
Yeah,
that's really what it is. And if you don't have a coach, it literally is keep an accurate food log for 2 weeks, and then we just drop below that, and then we just
yeah.
go from
That I
there.
mean, that's my only real. I mean, that's my rule as well. It's just like making sure that we know what we're training consistently, train with intention. You guys know
Hmm.
I feel like intensity breeds results. So making sure that you set an intention before you come into the gym. Like last night for our high rocks, we set intentions on why we're here. That is going to allow you to go into this workout, stay positive, not start beating yourself up, and staying consistent, right? Even on rest days, making sure that you do things, staying active. I feel like you're a big testament to that. I know that on days that we're not doing anything, you text me or you say something in our chat like, "Hey, I got my steps in, I got my walks in," and that even for me, that's something that I need to be more religious about. Is like the days off. Some days I'm like, I just want to sit down, and you like, I'm staying active and to be honest, Nia, it's just the blessing to see you, me and you getting older, but just to see that I got this 10-year gap with you almost, and I get to see like, okay, if I stay active, I can still look great. She's still moving. She just did a high rocks last year for 49, and she has goals to do other things going forward. So I'm like, if I as a male have this lean muscle tissue on me, I should be able to stay moving kinesthetically proper. So um, I feel like that's a big one. So moving with intention and eating with intention and making sure that you hold your accountability with intention and put those people in. It's like Jay-Z just had this thing where he was like, it's about the people who are around you. Right. And I feel like the last, what, 7 years that we've been in, 6, 7 years we've been together, we've just keep cultivating the right group of people to be around us and to receive the information that we're putting out and it's just going to get larger for us. I think once we hit this year and everything just kind of proliferates into the rest of the world and they get to see
Hmm.
exactly how we're going forward and helping people.
Well,
So what's some non-negotiables for you?
so it's funny that you said, worrying about the people around you. That was one of our clients earlier this week. In her office space,
Hmm.
her peers, her coworkers. It's a sabotage. It's a full self sabotage around what's happening around you. And so it was, hey, I need you to come to the gym on Saturday because I need you to start being around people who have a similar mindset so that you don't get caught, right? And so
Hmm.
some of my non-negotiables are we have to address sleep and stress like it's a job. And while it sounds cliche or it sounds like that's overly dramatic, I want you to deal with those two things like your life depended on it because it does. And so
Yeah.
oftentimes men and women alike think they can keep functioning or that they don't need to pay attention. But those are two things that if we can't get those things even remotely close to being right, you won't actually see the results. at all.
Yeah.
And so we can
Yeah.
do those things. Those non-negotiables need to be, you've got to go to sleep. We have to have some semblance of a sleep routine. We have to manage the stress. We're going to have to manage hydration. If we don't do those things, all this other stuff is futile because either you're going to get injured or either you're going to be too fatigued constantly.
Are you finding any of your people that are completely against training and are only thinking that they're going to be able to do this journey through nutrition?
That I have
And how do
not.
you advise them
No.
in that space?
I'll tell you, I think the misconception will never be that, someone thinks they don't have to exercise, but it's the type. I think that people do think that
That's where I was going next with that, is like, how
it's
do
a
you couple
type.
what kind of nutrition with what
hmm
kind of training?
So they have to, everybody understands like, hey, we're gonna have to eat different, have to be consistent. However, when it comes to training, I think there's a lot of different thoughts around what's effective. But people have to know there are two things that must always occur. There must always be cardio and there must always be strength training. Period. Those two things must line up.
Just like
There,
which one
yep,
outweighs
and they
depending on
don't.
what your preference is or what
Yep.
your goals are, but both of them have to
But they
be.
must exist. And so sometimes when people say, well, you know what, I don't really like weight training. So I have to tell them, you got to learn to love it because we need weight bearing exercises. It doesn't have to be in a gym. It doesn't have to be, 4 or 5 days a week, but we
Yeah.
do have to have at least two and more optimally three. And the other things that you like, you keep doing them, but we're going to have that just like we're going
Mhm.
to have the food. And so that is definitely a more of an education thing and just helping people know what truly means weight bearing versus what is cardio versus what's exercise, what's movement, what's intentional movement, non-exercise activity because they get really confused.
Are you big on giving people a certain amount of steps per day in your programs that you give for nutrition, especially if there's someone that doesn't consistently do a lot of training? So this is just ways to get them up and moving. I know we were
Mhm.
talking about one of the clients this morning who's a little older, and you were just like they need to start moving a little bit more outside of just
The
being
gym.
here.
Mhm.
Um, those non-negotiables in your program, are you giving out those? Because I've heard you overheard, some of your people being like, well, she tells me when we work together, and it's like, well, she's telling me this, and it's like, well, I don't even have to say it because I'm just going to be reiterating that we need 10K steps. Like, and
Yeah, I
going forward, I think
definitely
I told you that last year. Like, I want that to be a baseline for us when we're, consulting with people and being like, hey, if you're not willing to at least hit 10,000 steps, our journey together is going to be way more of a struggle than it needs to be, right?
I tell people absolutely. So even though many of my clients are coming to me for maybe health, nutrition, how to age well, that I never leave out the exercise component. And especially if I don't have a client that I may be working with you because I don't know what they're doing. And so I have
Mm-hmm.
to ask a lot of
Mm-hmm.
questions. What's your training schedule look like? What's your exercise? So I still tell them what I expect.
Yeah.
No matter who it is, I still tell them this is what I'm expecting. And so if you've got a 4-day workout schedule, let me see it. This is the amount of cardio I'm expecting. So talk to your trainer, or especially my clients who are across the country, I tell them this is what I'm looking for. Because the steps, the activity is what helps us manage food quantity. And so if you don't have the activity, then you don't, and it doesn't mean, and everybody listening later, don't say what she said, we have to earn the food. No, that's not what I said. But activity does revolve around what are you eating and then how much makes sense. If you're not moving, then we don't need that food. So we have to pull back on certain things. So the activity matters 100%. And then the step goal, I definitely always give one, but I always tell people we got to be very realistic. For many people, the 10,000 steps, I say that's like overachiever. We're crushing it. But anywhere from like 8 to 10, 6 to 8, that's optimal. We're still going to get fat loss, but the people who are 10,000 plus, we're crushing it. That's what we're doing there. That's crush it level. Your mic is out. I hear you.
Have you seen the inverse effects
There you
where you
go.
see somebody who's actively walking and it's not coming off? And or what has been your biggest struggle that you've seen? Have you dealt with anybody that just cannot drop the weight off? And I don't know if your back feels up against the wall, like, man, I'm racking my brain, like, what is it? And then you actually came to the fruition of like what it was, and did you learn something, or was it like,
Yes.
sometimes it's always, oh, I knew it was operator error. You was withholding information. Do you see withholding information more, or just like, I just didn't realize I needed to tweak this for this client?
No, I tell you, I think for many people, the journey for them is so important. But I think when you're asking those questions, and I think for us, for people like us, and for you and I, it's always around how we get better at sleuth finding,
Yeah.
right? Because we can ask all the questions, but sometimes when you're asking the question, the person doesn't understand that the thing they left out was pertinent, right? And then you hear it like 3 weeks later, and you're like, wait, when I asked that, you said this, and they were like, oh, I totally forgot.
I didn't
I
even realize
I
it.
didn't even realize that that mattered, right? And so then we're like, no, here's why it matters. And so it's just constantly for me, always reevaluating what I'm going to ask to get better and better, dig faster, so I can get to what we're trying to get to, more efficiently. But there are people who, like, you think about like the folks who were the athletes, who
Hmm.
have worked out their whole life, who are other trainers that we have, right? Our other trainers who we coach. I have other trainers who are across the country who I
Yeah.
coach them as well, not
Yeah.
just anybody local.
I
And
think
part
both
of,
on both ends. So even, in person, your overseas
yes.
coaches that we've had, I feel like everybody could use some shit. I mean, I use you, so it's
And
not like
we,
I'm
right?
perfect.
I feel like I always have a coach, right? Because I need somebody else seeing what I'm not seeing to give me a
And when I'm
different
ready to dial
perspective.
all the way in, I'm like, all right, Nini, I need you
This is
to.
what we need to do. But what happens is the people who have that lifestyle, and especially as they get older, and I say this because someone who may be 20s, 30s, their body is still developing. Even if they've been an athlete their whole life, it's still a different
Hmm.
level up. It's always one more level up, level up, level up, level up. But when you're looking at people who are 40s and 50s who've always been that level of active and like aggressively active, we're at a place where there is no more do more. There is no more.
Hmm.
There's no more
Sometimes
like
that's
we're
how
gonna
I
add
feel,
it in.
me.
Sometimes it's we have to pull it back. And
Nini, I mean,
so
this past weekend, I was just like, I got on the scale on Monday, and I wasn't as happy as I thought I would be. And I was just like, there's no more I can fit
there's no
into
more.
the tank of fitness. Like, I mean, I swam over the weekend. I ran. I
Hmm.
exercised 2 times a day. I was just, I mean, but then it's moments where it's like it's just some time. Like, sometimes me and you talk about
Yep.
being on the hour delay, or things of that nature. So I I take the good with the bad. I'm not too
Yep.
mad at it, but I do sometimes just wonder, like, what are the stagnations that you see with your clients, and how do you help them mentally get through that? I feel like
Yeah.
that's one of the kind of final things that we could chit chat about, is like, how are we mentally helping these people that are stagnating and are
Uh-oh.
that I was dealing with. I had to stagnation. I had to ask you for some help, and I mean, now we're 200 pounds down with the individual, and living a great life. And but I feel like it even still got a little murky right there sometimes with you and that client. So not in a bad way, just like, man, I'm
We
trying to
gotta
figure
try
this
something
out, and
different. We have to keep
we
we have
found
to
out a
keep
couple new
evolving.
things. And
Yep, we gotta keep
um
evolving with it.
so
But I will tell you,
how you keep them engaged, not wanting to quit, and being able to have something for somebody every day. You know what I'm saying? Like when they're coming to you and it's like,
hmm,
Nitra, it's not working, and it's like, oh my gosh, one, are
listen,
you working as hard as I am working for you? That's always one, right? Like, are you genuinely locked into the program? Because even if
hmm,
you're off a speckle, you don't get to make that allude, or that assumption that it's just that. You don't know what just that is. You don't know that just that adds up to 400 additional calories throughout your week, and you didn't realize that,
hmm.
and that's why that's the last 400 that you needed to be deprived of. So again,
Listen,
what do you go through
a
with
hundred
those?
percent. And there are two pieces to that. Number one, we talk about men versus women. Because as that aging person happens, for men, I do think it's a lot less complicated because we're pulling a lot less levers for men at any age.
Hmm.
And usually men have not, and especially if it's a man, many men are not the ones who've had to diet their whole life. That's not
Right.
their life. And
Right.
so when you dial it in on a man, they're seeing some things that most of the time they've never seen before because they've never had to dial it in ever. And if they
Ever.
have, right? And if they have before, then we've stopped and then we can come back to it. And they like, I know what to expect and very compartmentalized, know what to do. But the difference is when you start talking about women and the I'm doing, and it's not working, you're dealing with so many pieces from every direction, like a big bubble is over our head,
Hmm.
like a cloud of 20 things happening at one time, and you're trying to really pare it down. Then you have to get to this place where it's the what is our main goal? Is it about speed or is it about longevity?
Yeah.
Because that is a very different piece, and many ladies have to understand that sometimes what they want to see is based on speed, but what they want to commit to is based on longevity,
Yeah.
because that's a different approach, and it's a lot more, I think, friendlier when it comes to how we're going to eat, the quantity, the options, all the things, and then we keep it fun and we keep progressing the entire way. But sometimes in people's mind, what they want is speed, but they don't want the peace that comes with speed, and that's not sustainable. So you have to really upfront talk through, you need to understand what this journey looks like and try to be very clear about how long that really takes. That's a year, this is a year and a half, like it's not 2 months, it's not 3 months when you're not doing something that is aggressive. When we're trying to fully transform people like we will be doing, that's transformation, that is all in. Everybody's not ready to be all in because they need longevity and they need a different pace so that they can learn. And so you have to decide which one someone's trying to do. But oftentimes clients try to mix the two together, but they're not mentally ready to mix the two. Uh oh, Troy will be right back in. And if there are any questions, you guys can pop them right into the chat as well. By the way, Troy's probably freaking out right now. I said Troy's probably freaking out right now. You got it. Hmm. I think we're back. Okay.
Good.
Yeah.
We're back. We're back. Yeah. So you were stating that, like, so in my head, I really did have a client though that I'm thinking about. We have somebody, um, that I don't know if we officially worked.
Hmm. Yeah. Hmm.
I'm not sure so much for this individual, not to get so harped in on one person, but this individual is just a really good person. I think hard reset, but how do you go about navigating that? And with women, I know that it's a different emotion that comes along with it. So I think that that's where some of my difficulties lie too, is just
Hmm.
the emotional aspect and what it does for a woman.
Yeah, and so much of it is the emotional piece around how it affects their body. There are a lot of people
Hmm.
who, because it's been a struggle for a long time, they internalize that, and they internalize it in a way that creates a lot more belly fat. It's a lot more stress digestively. And so that's what you see. And that same person is also maybe a someone who, I like to say, when we're trying to get to a place where someone who has always been inconsistent and we're trying to get you to a place to be consistent, the consistency does require some repetition because repetition is how you build habits. But oftentimes, that's why I say sometimes what people want is speed, but they want longevity practices. And you have to be very mindful of what you're doing because longevity practices means slower pace, and it means sticking, it means being consistent, it means doing all of the things slowly over and over and feeling
Yeah.
really good about it and not being so caught in my scale's not moving, because the fact is it is moving though. That's the thing, is it's like Yes, you have to look at the non-scale
Take
wins
on
because
non-scalable wins.
that's when people are looking at, man, I'm stronger. And sometimes people don't equate that with I'm getting better. Like they're not seeing that as the result unless you are able to talk through these are non-scale victories because you're stronger, you're faster, you're moving better, you're more mobile, you've got less aches and pains, your measurements are different, your body composition is different, even if your scale is only moved a little bit. And so sometimes people have to understand those are all results. And I also try to explain to people this is where, especially as people get older and really women, when you look at different body types, right? Sometimes people always want to compare to their friend and they want to compare to the slim friend, right? And what do I mean by that? The slim friend, I mean the person who has naturally always been a little bit smaller. They may feel like this
Always.
person always dropped weight a little bit easier. And this is a person who always struggled since high school. Like they've been a little bit larger, they've got bigger bones, they've been stronger. But what they don't understand, I try to use this as
Yes.
an example. Our speedy, like if we had to, and I know this is awful, but I'm going to use this because I think it's a good visual. If we think about like race dogs versus haulers, right?
Hmm.
If you are
Hmm.
a pit
A
bull,
Clydesdale
right,
versus a
versus
sprinter
something
horse.
else,
All of them.
right?
Yep.
So if you think like it's the pit bull right now versus a Saint Bernard, I used this example like last week or something,
Hmm.
and or you said like a wolf dog, right? Let's say like
Hmm.
somebody who uses wolves and they are, you know, pulling the haul. Those dogs have to be speedy, endurance, all the things. So they're normal, they're average size. But let's say we only want speed. We got the pit bulls, they jumping up the fences, they're doing all the things, they're speed. They're really muscular. They're always going to be that way until you take the speed away. They're going to gain weight and they're not going to be able to move well because you took away the speed. Let's talk about the St. Bernard. It's a hauler. If you try to drop the St. Bernard's weight too fast, their hips are going to break. They can't haul. And so you have to work with what you have naturally and really hone in and enhance those things so you can get the optimal body, but keeps you strong. And then gradually it moves. But we can't keep taking body types into places that that's not their normal because it's stressful.
Yeah. And I
And you
think
have
that
to do
people,
it. You got to pace it.
yeah, and I think people often just go off of a body weight. Right? Like, oh, I weigh 150 or I weigh 150. And it's like, well, that 150 might
It's
only
not.
have 20 pounds of fat on it, where your 150 might be 50% body fat. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And you guys could be the same exact height, but that body, um,
Steve Samurai
yeah,
Rottweiler. I love it. Love it.
yeah, and I feel like I'm the husky. I have to definitely manage things well. If I don't eat properly, I am quick to blow up in a round way that I don't like. And I look at certain people that can just walk around chiseled all day, all night, and we can be of the same body structure and body composition, but or similar ones, but it's just different, you know. And even as a coach, sometimes I fault myself on that because I get a guy, I'll be like, oh well, he's around the same height as me. He should be able to, but it's like he didn't come into this
Mhm.
game with as much lean tissue as I do.
Exactly.
I do see the same height. I see some structure that could be there, but I've been active all since the age of 3. So, and it hasn't been any real stops. Been some damage done, but no stops. So, just understanding and then going back and saying, all right, well, we have to tweak these things and make sure that you come up with a structured program that's going to really be geared towards helping you develop and grow. And I think that that's what over what the last 3 years we've gotten decent at is really good at is looking at the person. And I think that that's more so accustomed to you. I know that even I have changed and made sure that the exercises are geared towards who I think should be, dominant in their legs or working more here or working more there. I feel like you go in and when we have our meetings with people, you know exactly what each person is going through. You look at their pictures and you're like, Troy, this person's shoulders are off. Their back is off. Maybe we need to isolate and do certain things. And again, that's what this whole topic was about, was just making sure that people have a direct pathway to their success and not always leaning on, oh well, my metabolism is slow or I'm aging. And it's like, well, have you hired a coach that is actually in your nutrition booklet and showing you exactly? Have you hired a trainer that is going to be, or a coach that's going to guide you towards what you said your goal is? And have you set the foundation of having the right people around you that are going to aid in your growth going forward towards this journey, because health and wellness is a journey, and we've seen many people fall off. We've seen people be so consistent and then fall off. And I think that we had this kind of conversation last week with some people, and it's just like them just trying to figure out how to hold on, because it's not easy every single day. Even me and you go through some moments where it's like, oh, this is tiring. I'm tired today. I don't feel like it. And but that's the one cool thing, is that it's so many things that are going to naturally happen in my day that I don't get to feel like this one thing that I can pick to go and do, which is exercise and eat correctly. I'm going to make that easier. I'm just going to do what's right, because
Hmm.
so many other things are going to come into my space, right?
And the one thing that we both are working with individuals on, so those of you watching this now or later, it's about understanding what it means to transform, but also what it means to be able to maintain and pivot when you need to pivot,
Hmm.
because there's no reason why we should fall off.
Yeah.
But there are
So
times when we create reasons,
yeah, I was ready to
but
say,
there are
so
none.
speak about that before we get out of here. I don't want to keep tacking on, but like that's one thing that bothers me sometimes, is how fast like we've locked in for this 16 weeks, and then we go through our deloading, or resurfacing back to our normalcy, but then it's like we allow these rails to fall off, and people want to go back to the life, that they were doing, and thinking that they know how to be some type of juggle artist or something, and I don't know, it just breaks my heart to see people go back, you
Now
know?
we have to remind people. So of course, our folks who are local, who've been able to be a part of a prep and really transform their bodies, or
Mhm.
our future clients who are going to be online transforming their bodies, and then our clients who we have, all year long, who
Yeah,
have transformed at one point, or they are just working on that
working,
journey.
going through, yeah.
We have to understand that no matter what we do, to live the lifestyle is forever living the lifestyle. And that's
Mhm.
why I'm very adamant. And so sometimes when I say to people, you cannot hack your way into losing weight. And what do I mean by that is we're always looking for, I'm going to hack my food, right? I love nachos. So I'm going to hack my way so
Ooh,
that I
talk
can have
about it.
nachos like every day. And I'm like, I tell people all the time, those types of thoughts are dangerous thoughts, because you're constantly going to be worrying about things that are, I call it the minutia. That is not what is important. And so having nachos means eat the nachos, eat the ones you wanted, but understand how to have the quantity. Our objective is not to keep putting these in your face every single day so you can hack your way and eat snacks and eat the things that just don't actually make sense on a regular basis all the time. But there are a lot of people who that's what they do. They're going to keep trying to find a better way to eat snacks and
Mhm.
or eat the things that they like for junk food. That should not monopolize your mind, and it shouldn't monopolize your time, because it was my post yesterday, worrying about things that don't matter. And the more you do that, you're not going to be successful long term, because you're constantly thinking about something that has nothing to do with making lifelong changes. And when you keep trying to hack your way, you are not thinking about lifelong changes. You're just thinking about how I'm going to eat the thing that I like so much that I want to do.
That
And I'm going to hack
I
my
can
way
just
into doing
interject
it.
this into being in my healthy lifestyle, and it's like,
It's not it. It's like, if you want the thing, we're teaching you how to have that thing, because that's real life, and then understanding what the rest of the time looks like. But the more time you spend on hacking your way to it, I'm going to hack my way into eating chocolate chip cookies every day, but they're going to be healthy chocolate chip cookies. Like, it's a waste of time. Stop
they
trying to
really
hack
be
your
doing
way.
it.
Yes.
Listen,
I'm going to
man.
hack my way to the nachos. I'm going to hack my way to the pizza that I like, because I want to eat it every day. The problem is those are not everyday, they're not everyday items. And at some point, depending on who it is, those are the things that can sabotage you, because you're so
Yeah,
busy worried about
yeah,
how to do that.
yeah. Oh, trust me, I've even done it. I've been a part of the game, and I probably have come to you about it, like, hey, I need this, nightly. And it's just like, all right, this isn't, eventually we're gonna have to get rid of this,
Yeah,
or
it's like,
I just need to
let's
make
just
sure I
learn
don't
how
need
to
it
do
every
it.
single night.
Let's just
I
learn
need
how
to
to do
just be
it.
able to curb this and get through it. This isn't my vice. I need not to have this much of an extreme vice that cultivates so much power and authority over me. um So yeah, so what's some daily rules that you just gonna want to leave with the people?
All right. Number one, we said, right, when we talk about food and how we make sure that we don't lose it, is the number one simple stuff: protein first.
Mm-hmm.
Protein first always. And that's not a new thing, everybody. That's not a new topic. That's for every age group, even your kids.
Yeah.
That is a part of eating in general. Whether you plant-based eater or not, protein is still top of mind, right? Then
Ooh.
that's number one, making sure we get enough fiber. Number two, and then stress and sleep. You got to manage it. Like you have to manage stress and sleep. If you do
Yeah.
not, we're going to continue to have issues because it's going to show up through your body.
I feel like yours are so much more important than mine. Mine is just move with intention,
Nope, you
even
got
on
that.
your rest days, get some steps in. I think that the steps are big. I think I didn't realize how big and massive this taking getting the steps in because I am active and I don't focus on it was either last prep or two preps ago when we were really like I mean, we were up to like 20,000 steps we were doing. It was wild, to get in. That was two preps ago, but yeah, so just making sure you do that, making sure that you adhere to recovery, whether that's stretching, whether that's massage modalities, cold plunge, sauna. Just do whatever's great for your body. Young ladies, watch the cold plunging. I'm big on cold plunging, but making sure that temperatures are at the adequate level and just staying active to do something, right?
And
And
keep
that's
the
what we
activity fun, because sometimes
yeah,
people just
yeah,
think, oh, it's just going to be like, I can't keep walking all day.
yeah.
Nobody say you're going to walk all day, but you have to get fun. You have to move. You have to get up. And I think so many
Mhm.
people still believe that because they go to the gym every day, right? Or 4 times a week, that that was my workout. That is
Yeah.
like an hour at
Yep.
most for the average person. Let's say 70% of people who work out, 80% of people who work out and train is an hour.
Mhm.
It's another 20% of people that's not athletes. I'm gonna not talk about athletes yet. 20% of regular everyday people who might be 2 hours in a gym. That is not the norm. And sometimes we can think it's a norm because it may be normal for us, but that is not a normal for most people. It's less than an hour. So you got to get up and move your body on a regular basis. You got people right now who are down to 2,000 steps a day. 3,000 because they work from home or they work in an office building, and the
They
only
gotta get
time
a
they're
dog or something. I get
you
2K just
gotta
for walking
move.
my dog. And they also say that. They say things like that, like people with dogs and and pets and things that gotta get outside. They're more active just by having to.
Yep,
I gotta
because you
get up
have
and take
to.
my dog for a walk. So
Mhm.
those little small things can definitely change your life. Um so if you guys feeling stuck, if you're having some problems with your fitness, if you're uh dieting or training is just falling off or you're just feeling like you're not getting over the hump or that threshold, um just trying to figure out what you're struggling with, this is what our training pipeline does. Our 12-week transformation package, we offer these things with Nitra and myself. You'll get training, you get nutrition with her. You get weekly accountability. We do check-ins. So just really trying to push everybody forward. These 12-week cycles are amazing, man. We change our workouts very often as far as bi-weekly to monthly, just to make sure that we're having a trajectory. We're not plateauing. Sometimes if we're feeling like we're plateauing soon, then we'll change it at the 2-week marker. But we really try to make sure that you guys grow within this program and you learn how to do fundamental exercises and movements, and we give you time with Nitra to really hone in all of your nutrition needs. And I don't even like just saying she's a nutrition coach. I feel like it's lifestyle. It's a lot more than just nutrition. She cultivates so much more for you guys. So again, if this hits you, contact myself. What's your Instagram and all your handles, Nina?
Yep, or you can reach out to me on Nutrition with Nature on Instagram. I'm also on TikTok, but Nutrition with Nature is always a good place to start. Our websites are both linked on our Instagram, so you can
Hmm.
contact us there as well. But know that these types of programs are for people who want structure. It means that you are ready to take it to the next level for the rest of your life, right? You
Hmm.
feel like I've been wasting my time. I'm doing things that really just aren't hitting the mark, and I'm over it.
Yep.
You're tired of wasting your
Definitely.
time. And so this
Yeah.
is a place to get real results so that you can maintain them forever.
Yeah. So what we gonna talk about next week, homie?
All right. And next Tuesday, we're going to break down what actually works for fat loss, right? That what actually works, not the latest trend, not the latest hacks. I'm gonna say that word. You're gonna hear me say that word a lot. Stop trying to hack your way. Has to
Mhm.
be the latest, not the latest trend or latest fad, but with the things that actually work to help you lose weight, lose
And
fat.
this is definitely tested. I've worked with hundreds. Nitra's now worked with thousands of people throughout this. Our age ranges are massive. We've worked with youth. We've worked with elderly. So all of these are battle tested. This isn't just us running amok and trying to get you guys. So we appreciate everybody that is going to listen to it. You guys that stood fast with us here live. Make sure that you share, like, and subscribe, and keep following us every Tuesday at noon. We will be doing our Transformation Tuesdays.
See
Thank you,
y'all next
Coach.
Tuesday.
See y'all.